everybody, and welcome back to The New Mind. My name is Ben, and here we are at the Cumberland Ballou Cemetery, Cumberland, Rhode Island. This is one of New England's most haunted cemeteries. So I had to come here and show some love to it. I did a lot of research on it, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. So the Ballous have a long bloodline history, and James, coming from England, he took some land that he acquired somehow, a large tract of it, and he divided it between his three sons, Nathaniel, James Jr., and Obadiah. Obadiah being the big one of the three, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have this beautiful cemetery we're at right now. Obadiah owned quite a bit of land, but he took a half acre and he created this place for not only himself to be laid into, but his friends and family and neighbors. So not only did Obadiah take some of his land that was inherited to him to create this cemetery, but he also had Iron Rock Hill, that if I had to pinpoint it, would probably be directly that way. Iron Rock Hill was a very lucrative spot for Obadiah because they had a rich amount of iron mixing with a granite-like substance. He built, I'm guessing, about a couple smelting sites where they melted down the rock and had beautiful, rich iron that they sold for, I think, 1 shilling per pound, which I'm guessing was a lot of money back then. Also, Obadiah's property, if I had to pinpoint that as well, if you went past this cemetery to the right, if it was on your right hand side and you come to a fork with West Rentham Road, his house was said to be right at the corner of Elder Ballou Meeting House Road and West Rentham Road. So I didn't mention earlier, as I said, that Iron Rock Hill is that way. Just so you know, if you ever come here, we're in the back of the cemetery. Just so you know where the hill may be. Speaking of Iron Rock Hill, over the years they took out so much of this iron rock that at this point it could probably be half or maybe not non-existing at this time and day. It was said in the early 20th century that they stopped mining for the iron because they started getting a lot of titanium, which is very hard to melt, which made the process extremely difficult to get iron out of. So they started mining for trap rock, which they created a lot of roads from. And speaking of Iron Rock Hill, another cool thing about it is Rhode Island State rock came out of the Iron Rock Hill, and that's called Cumberlandite. And it could be a piece that I'm sitting on right now. I don't know, it kind of looks like a different type of rock compared to the other ones along this stone wall. Cumberlandite is a rock special to this area, and it goes down all the way to southern Rhode Island, Narragansett. There's some other deposits that they found it. Very, very rich in iron, and there's white specks in it. And when it hits the air, it oxidizes to a nice golden bronze. Alright, so now for the part that I'm sure you guys have all came here for. The haunting part, the paranormal activity. Personally, I haven't seen or heard anything yet. Been here a few times now. But some of the reports that have been recorded by many people coming here, they said to have seen a man in gray, shadowy figure lurking around the cemetery. People have reported hearing rocks being thrown, shadowy figures darting around corners, and the feeling of always being watched, even though there's no one behind you. Alright, so here we are at Obadiah Ballou's grave. He died 1768 at 79 years old. His stone, if you guys want to come here at some point and come visit him, is what I like to think the right middle of the cemetery underneath this tree. Hope he's at peace. So if we come, I'm going to show you guys where his son's grave is right now, actually. Reverend Ballou, one of Obadiah's sons. Don't know how many sons he had, but this is the one that I read about. He was a reverend of the First Baptist Church in Cumberland, Rhode Island. And that's all I really know about him. But gotta say thank you for serving the Lord and for being such a strong person. So what's really interesting about this graveyard too is the haphazard way they put together the burying sites. It's not a common graveyard, guys, and there's little tiny stones everywhere that you trip over, and I just kind of give a kiss and pat them just for good measure, just to respect that they're there. But yeah, I just wanted you guys to see that this place is scattered with tiny stones that you might just think are rocks sticking out of the ground, but sorry to say they're not. Alright, so the last time I was at this graveyard, they had these propped up against these gravestones. And what I discovered is they're gluing stones back together. I think it's from vandalism. I've seen a lot of things online stating that people have been coming here, stealing gravestones and breaking them for some reason. But I just wanted to point that out to you. There's a lot of broken tombstones here, and I'm not sure why, but I just think it's plain out wrong. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Alright, so I'm sure you saw a lot of the little American flags sticking up at a lot of these gravestones. I forgot to mention that a lot of these men and the Ballous were heavily influenced by the military. They were soldiers in the Revolutionary War. And the cool thing is the Reverend Abner, his son William, actually Major William Ballou, had a tavern close to the Ballou meeting house across the street from here. And this was a place where they had offices and a lot of revolutionary soldiers hanging out there. Soon after the war was over, they turned it into a local tavern. And a lot of the soldiers were welcomed with loving arms and pride of being with other soldiers. Pretty much like a VFW. And this was huge for people back in the day. A place they could hang out during the winter, get a few drinks in them, and, you know, shoot the crap about the war that they all were part of. Alright, so one of the things that people see off the road right away is these bizarre tombs. So they're not tombs, they are keeps. And this is where they would keep the bodies of people during the winter when the frost line was too deep and they couldn't dig. So they would keep them in here, in the keep, and keep the bodies here until springtime, and that's when they would start to dig again. I won't go in these right now because there's spiders hanging from the entrances, and I have a big phobia of one of them going in my hair or biting me. I don't know, it's just one of my things. So when it's nighttime, look out for part 2. This is part 1 of the series. As long as I don't see the spiders, I'll go in there and we'll do an EVP, or we'll do some scanning. But for now, hope you enjoyed it, learned something about this place. Come visit it sometime and check it out for yourself. Cumberland, Rhode Island, one of New England's most haunted, and I'll see you on part 2. And don't forget to like and subscribe to The New Mind to see part 2, because if you don't like and subscribe, you're not going to see it come out. It's being released probably next week. Alright, so keep an eye out for it, and as always, stay safe and have fun.